You start out with kind of big molecules, and big molecules, put in simple science terms, are not overly palatable. They might feel kind of rough around the edges. You give them enough time, these big molecules convert into small molecules, and the beer ends up smoother. So this is why barrel-aged beer, irrespective of what spirit it's picked up, irrespective of what interaction it's had with wood, just feels so much easier to drink. It's so much smoother. It's the simple passage of time that's created that.
So it's that smooth that I've literally had to put my glass down to stop myself drinking it so quickly. Ant doesn't have that power. It's about time we introduce Ant properly and let him tell you a little about himself and what he does for us.
All right, well, I'm Ant. There you go.
You've seen him on camera loads of times. So.
I normally stand in front of the camera and get in the way of people at home, it seems, so I do apologise for them. I'm just trying to do my best. But yeah, I come up and I take basically, we get the can artwork designed mainly by guys at UBD who work literally just above your heads, really. They come up with a concept of the design of the can, and that will get off and sent to print. And then what I do after that is create all your pump clips, any posters you see around, promotional items. Obviously, everything you see on the website has to be then 3D rendered to make it look like the can's real. Stuff like that, basically. If you've seen anything to do with the beer that isn't on the physical label, I've pretty much come up with the design and the layout for things like that.
So one of the things that I don't think, I mean, the audience at home and possibly most of our wider team outside of marketing realise is just how much work goes in for every single different beer we produce. So if you think about, that's the physical label on that can. So we have to send that specific file in a certain specification to the printer for that. That's one element of it. Then Ant will rework that artwork to create a keg round. He'll then possibly rework that artwork to create a pump clip. He'll then almost 100% have to then rework that artwork to do the right format to go onto our website. It then has to go onto Untapped in a certain format. It then has to go onto Seller, our selling platform, in 2 different formats. It then has to go onto our mailing list in 3 different formats. We then produce a beer passport which tells everyone about every different, like trade customers about every aspect of that beer.
That is all the standard stuff, and every now and again,
every single beer
we sling a special project as well. And I'm going to name 2 straight off the bat. I referenced the beer that I did for my dad earlier, so I got this man to do the artwork for it. So he's done the pump clip for that. It's fucking awesome, dude. I've apparently just dropped the first F-bomb. And the other one, which I say deserves even more accolade, is we are really, really proud to have got to the position of being able to sponsor York City. And the South stand is now going to be the Brew York South stand. And that man did the artwork for the entire stand.
So hopefully, well, not hopefully, it'll be in place in time for the Wrexham game. If you don't know when that is, it's the 3rd of December. And yeah,
don't do it any good.
So we couldn't get it
near enough top of the league. We're screwed. As long as our artwork's there, then
we couldn't get in place for this weekend's match, unfortunately, because the Rugby League World Cup at the stadium stopped the guys getting into the measurements. But it spans the whole length of the stand, and there's so many different aspects that had to be part of it. And normally, that type of project, we'd speak to United by Design, who do the overall concept of our cans. But we want to be doing more in-house. We know that Ant's got the skills to do that, so we wanted to put some stress and pressure on him to see what he could do.
It was about a 2 to 3 2 to 3 day period where we stressed the hell out of that because me and Wayne were stood on his shoulder going, no, that needs to be further left. That needs to be a slightly lighter cream. But we got there in the end, didn't we?
I had colour in my hair before I started.
He probably wouldn't dare say it with us sat next to him, but it must be pretty challenging because we both have very similar views, but also very different views sometimes. So myself and Lee will stand at the look at something. I'm like, that's fine. And he's like, I want it that way. And I'm like, well, I don't like it if it goes that way. I like it how it is. And then all of a sudden, you've got push and pull, and you've got to basically challenge.
You meet the middle.
All the challenge that Ant and Rachel and Pete has is to put across a view that kind of finds the harmony between the two of us. Yeah, and if you get to a point where you get us to both agree on that, then that's a beautiful thing.
Exactly. You basically have to stick with brand. There's a big thing that a lot of people seem to forget, that you have a brand. So you've got to be able to pick up something and without seeing the logo go, that's Brew York. I mean, you do that, you look at stuff like Coca-Cola, Volkswagen, one of my favourites is you take their logo off the advert, you go, Volkswagen advert. It's a brand. You're able to work out what you're looking at without seeing or being told what the brand is, and that's the whole idea of brand. And we're trying to get through that and make sure that Brew York has a good brand across everything. So if you don't see the logo anywhere, you'll go, that looks like a Brew York beer, I'll have that. You'll pick it up without even thinking about it, second thing. And that's just, you've got to think that, and like you said, Lee will want one thing, Wayne will want another. I'll probably want to go down a different route and keep it a bit more sensible, maybe.
Yeah,
but you come to an agreement where we're all happy that brand looks good, the design looks great, and the two bosses are happy to let it go out and basically show their brand to the world. So you've got to keep everything cool and basically find a good middle line where it makes it still look pretty ace as well.
And despite his size and capability, you are quite a chilled guy, though, aren't you?
Oh yeah, normally, unless I get given like a football stadium.
You look like you could wade through a crowd, man, quite frankly. But you are quite a chilled guy, though, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I'll do my best. It's a lot of barrel-aged beers make you chill.
Yeah,
Right.
and that is the funny thing, because we, well, the three of us could probably drink a pub out of beer, I sometimes feel, but the choice of drinks really affects the way that'll happen. And we go to a place and Ant will be straight on the Imperial Stout, so I suppose we should go for that as well then. So he sets the wrong example for us sometimes. But
Also start heavy and then work your way down.
we work in reverse order, because then you can still get your taxi home. At the
That's
end of
exactly right.
You're like the Antichrist of drinking, are you?
Thank you.
So the
I'll take that. Put that on my little tab along the bottom, Pete. That'd be great.
the other little bits and pieces of random requests that he gets all the time. So we have a team of field sales guys who are out trying to push and promote Brew York as much as possible. So the amount of things, can we just do this? Custom bespoke piece of artwork for the customer, because if we do that, it'll get us that sale. Or if you do this, like, there's only so many of them he can fit into a day. And the amount of requests, so especially when he's trying to fit in me a bespoke Christmas jumper, especially for today.
That's true, yeah.
If you haven't seen it at home,
There you go.
Tonko ho ho. But what Lee said is
Come on now.
what we should have done on the back.
It's not Slipknot, though, is it? Oh, come on.
But what we should have done on the back
Brandy.
is Goose Willis as well. So Tonko ho ho, I've got a machine gun or something like that. But yeah, all these random little things that people don't seem to always. Well, obviously you guys wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know what all the things.
And Ant's a super accommodating guy, and he's not very prone to say no.
No.
And he should say no more often.
I should do,
He
yeah.
tries to accommodate our whims a little bit too often.
Well, I mean,
think.
the thing is, everyone wants something, don't they? The reason they want it is to promote the brand, is to get out there and sell the beer. You got to do your best. I try and do my best. I get as much done as I can. Sometimes I will say, look, I can only do a miracle
I need
tomorrow morning.
to sleep.
Not
we're
right now.
We're blessed with a team of, I think there's in excess of 70 of us now, and to a man, all incredibly enthusiastic about what we do. And sometimes that enthusiasm can go a little too far. Right?
Spilleth over.
Yeah. There's all sorts of. We all try our best, and I think hopefully you guys agree. The guys do a great job for us. We massively appreciate the wider Brew York team. We massively appreciate Ant and the marketing team and all the people in the room. And we try to tell them that, but sometimes we don't as much as we should. So thank you everyone. Thank you everyone who works for us, who helps us
when
the
did-
business.
That definitely deserves another applause. So when did you join us, Ant? You've been with us for quite a while now.
Did he?
2018.
Did you work on the
Been
bars?
good
No,
for a bit.
you were a assistant brewer, stroke
Assistant Roscoe, everything else.
marketing, or
Marketing,
did social media. I can't remember
Social
what it was.
media, website,
No,
brewing, canning.
I think were you like employee number 5?
Something like that, I don't know, yeah.
And it was social media / brewer, because when you've only got 5 employees, you can't employ anybody to do one thing.
Yeah.
They have to do multiple things.
Yeah.
So you were helping out in the brewery, but at the same time doing the digital bit as well.
That's it, yeah. I came from other place where I used to do a lot of digital artwork, working for people like Argos and Next, photoshopping all of their like catalogues, doing the stuff
Putting
like
smiles
that.
on the models.
But in smart, well, strange enough, making models larger.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and basically taking clothes and turning a bikini into a swimsuit that's a long piece and turning different colours. Basically, everything you see in a magazine in the next catalogue or the Argos catalogue doesn't exist in real life.
It's all BS.
I put all that Photoshop. I put the actual clothes on the people. They're just essentially hangers.
Can you Photoshop some branding onto Lee for the next one?
Yeah, and if you see anything homeware in the next catalogue, it doesn't exist. That's a computer-generated picture. The only thing that does exist is the background, the area that it's in, because your eye is drawn to the image that you're looking at, and it will notice surreptitiously all the bit in the background. You go, that doesn't look right, and it'll be because the background's false. Whereas the thing you're looking at, it can be as false as you like. You won't notice it. There you go.
Trade secrets.
Came from that.
I feel like I've just looked behind the wizard's curtain.
But yeah, but I used to live, strange enough, about 30 seconds through that wall there, on the other side, above the Fab Hair.
And then we opened up a brewery here, just after you moved
when
out.
I moved out. Yeah, so I worked at this place, and it was like, I'm getting a bit fed up working for the man and all that. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to work in somewhere in York. And I thought, well, I like beer. Perhaps I just work. I wanted to work with my hands and just be a bit more hands-on sort of thing, not do all of this computer stuff. I mean, look where there we go. Yeah. But yeah, I came work here, and they said no, because I come here for a bar manager, because I wanted just a complete change of scene. He said, well, we've seen your skill set. We've got bar manager done. Do you want to run the website and pictures?
We've got a Waters.
Yeah, we've got Waters, and that's it. Can you look after him? And I went,
okay.
Wish I'd said no, but yeah, four and a bit years ago. So almost at the beginning.
And you look like you're kind of still enjoying it.
Yeah, I do my best. I mean, it's a good facade. Yeah, we struggle on, don't we?
I think whatever your kind of thing, if you get to the point of status quo, it gets boring. I don't think we've ever done that. We've always found reasons to improve and ways in which to improve. Like the new technology with the multiple cameras and the screen.
And more work for Ant to do the overlay.
But that keeps it exciting for everyone. Like for me and the Brew team who are over the back there, we get to keep making different beers. And then you guys get to find different ways in which we can promote it. And we do the YouTube, but then YouTube can be so many different things. So now we've found different ways to bring that on. Yeah. And that's thanks to you guys.
And I think one of the other things that's really been prominent for us as a brewery and as a business as we grew to the scale we're at now is we brought Ant in for help and support in the brewery and help and support in social media, because both me and myself used to try and do it on our evenings and weekends, and we weren't doing a very good job of it. And we brought Ant in, and I got him to look after that as well as helping us in other areas. And we soon realised that we needed Ant to do that full time, because it was so important as a small brewery to make sure people knew what you were doing. And even though we had hardly any full-time employees, we had someone full-time looking after social media for us, because we couldn't do it, and it's so important. And a lot of people underestimate just how important it is.
If that doesn't tell you what the modern world is about, what does?
Exactly. Yeah.
Employee number 5, and wasn't originally intended to be 100% social media, but did end up being 100% social media and digital from that point forward.
Yeah, I mean, social media is obviously the way of the world at the moment, and it's surprising how much time you think that you've just sent a question to Brew York. Hello, when are you open? Guess how many times we get asked that? The usual answer in my head is Google.
Look at the website.
Yeah,
Google.
Yeah, but there's also other stuff. It's like, what beer are you doing next? Lots of little questions, and we answer them all, and we give everyone their time. But you think that it takes you a minute or 2 minutes to think of how to phrase everything, get it all right.
To be polite, to bite your tongue.
Bite your tongue. Yeah. Put a link in, say this is the next beer, this is some information here, do you want to read about that? Done that, and by the time you've done that, there's another 3 or 4 questions, and that's just on Facebook. Then you've got Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I've got to get me dancing for TikTok. That's how you do it.
And that's one of the things that I never anticipated. So in my previous career, I was working in finance, and basically all communication was done via email. That was just the way. If you wanted something to be done, you would send an email, and then you'd work your way through your emails, and you'd process it in a timely manner, or whenever you could get to it. If someone doesn't respond to an email within 24 hours, we get a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram message as well to go with it. So now we've got 4 different things you have to reply to, rather than just can we have a little bit of time to get onto that one? And it's great because it's great to have that much interaction, but it's so challenging because there's so many new sources of questions, and it's like when
especially
Google
if those
say,
questions are coming in over a weekend, it's like, well,
Yeah.
we kind of like our team to have their own lives.
That's it.
So, like, maybe don't expect a response over the weekend.
Number of times
Maybe
I've
that
had-
response comes Monday.
Yeah, I've had emails come through and they're saying, I sent you an email 3 hours ago, why haven't you answered it? And you think, I've just
You
got
sent
in,
it
it's
at
8
6 p.m. on a
o'clock,
Friday,
so
yeah.
you sent it to me at 5 in the morning. I haven't answered. We're a large team, but we're not Coca-Cola. We don't have people
Yeah.
24/7. We have a normal 9 to 5 job and we're doing our best, really. So
Yeah, and that's something we picked up from what other breweries were doing as well, because when we started and we're a very small team and very small business, we were responding, working seven days, responding to everything as soon as we could, because you don't want to let anyone down. But at some point, you've got to draw a line and actually try and set out what your business hours are to try and
I think it was probably
manage expectations.
Beavertown that taught us that
It
one?
was, yeah. So Camilla,
Where Camilla Hannibal, who last I heard was at Yeasty Boys,
yeah, she's still there.
she said, no, you've got to have an off button. There has to be a point at which you say, we're not responding. That it can be a 9 to 5 job. They can send their responses in whenever they want. Doesn't mean you have to respond then.
yeah.
So yeah, if you do send us a message out of hours, we will always endeavour to respond and try and get you something if it's an easy question, but it'll often require asking a question to somebody else who's not actually at
But
work
in the
till
first
Monday.
instance, if it's not social media where we can't do an auto response, if it was email, an auto response would come back to you and it would tell you that you're not going to get a response until this time, because that's what we were, and it's unreasonable to expect otherwise of our team.
But I think in general the team do such a great job of being responsive to people, to try and feedback on anything, because we love getting feedback. We always say these sessions are so good, but if you guys ask questions, we can feed back. Same principle to everything we do. If we do something and people feed back to us, we really welcome it. So we want as much as we can.
I've got
we
some
will
feedback.
Endeavour.
The room is still too warm. Right. Let's.
Teaches you to wear a skin tight jumper.
I think it's your Christmas jumper. You took it off.
But if I take off Slipknot, what do you think I'm going to have underneath?
Slipknot.
Oh, you've got some on t-shirt.
But it's Slipknot.
He's wearing 2 layers and he's complaining about being hot.
Double Slipknot. That's
Who
all.
just wears a jumper?
Me, because this was so bloody tight when I put it on. I was like,
Is that all you've got? Yeah. Oh wow. Right. That was a reveal.
Well, hopefully not.
yeah.
Right. So I don't think we've massively detailed the beer.
No, we need to ask Anne about his favourite beers.
I'm going through these picks. I know we have to stay on time and everything for that.
Well, exactly.
So-
Well, you're the boss, man.
Exactly.
And now you're going to do it on camera.
on
rather than
camera.
off
So
camera.
what we're looking for.
And the
my
wider
beer of the
audience
year.
probably want to go and
So
drink more beer.
what would be your beer of the year?
My beer of the
Brew
year,
York.
to be fair, Brew York beer of the year, fair dues, was Clever Guile. That was
I collab with
favourite.
Neon Raptor.
Because I thought, basically,
Oh, popular choice for
there
the
we go.
brew team.
yeah, I thought it was an exceptional pale. We're not that well known for pales. Normally, stouts, sours, pales. Probably people go, oh, we go to Verdant or Daya or Cloudwater or one of those lot. And to be fair, our pales weren't 100% superb years ago. We got some new team in, got new equipment, better practices, and I think we started off with Through the Air Gap, and I thought that was, this is looking like we're going in the right direction. We're starting to learn a few things. We got through a few others, and we got hit Clever Guile, and I remember trying that and thinking, that's the pale that I wanted to drink.
Did
I
you
wanted
stop and say, clever guy?
Clever Guile, yeah, pretty much, that's it. So I thought, yeah, that's great, and also got a killer artwork on things. It's got dinosaurs, and frankly, dinosaurs are cool. Yeah.
Well, we can't argue with that one, can we?
I think
So yeah, Clever Guile. That was the first beer for a very long time I actually bought from you. I went back
Really?
and bought.
Why?
I did not try a couple, and then, but it was like I'm going to go back and buy cases of this with my own cash
and
money.
he's like, all these ones we got for marketing photos, and we managed to spill them all. Can we have another
Oh
few
no!
cases, please?
It's all gone down my mouth.
So I think that's followed up with genuinely what we're drinking now, Captain Strato. It's one of my favourite pales we brewed this year, full stop. And I hadn't tasted it until we did the live session last Friday. So I went out to the beer hall just before we started here, and it wasn't on. I was like, oh God, And I went downstairs, it was pouring on keg down there. Yes. And then we actually have a couple of cans left from last week, so hence why we're drinking them on the Christmas stream, because we keep drinking our Christmas beers so quick. But it's really good. It's the same.
Yeah, I've almost done
It's
that.
built
We're
from
on
that.
it
It's built up from Clever Guile. It's the the similar base with different hops, but it's a really, really cool one. So look out for it if you haven't tried
the
it.
pale game's getting tight, so it's good.
I think you've done us proud to shout that out, because I
You've
do
done
think
yourself
because
proud by doing it. So.
the last few years, in fact, perhaps for our entirety, we've been known as the Stout guys. As in producers of good stouts.
The brewery, not
but
us.
also quite stout guys that look after the company. But also, I think, I'd like to say decent sours. But I don't think pales ever come up in the conversation when we do it.
No.
And I do think with the focus of the team this year, I think we've tried, and it's not an easy thing to do. We are changing people's opinion gradually of those pales.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to take a little while, so stick with us. But I think it's going to be.
I think
time
our
after time,
quality's
it's just
there.
going to
You
get
drink
good.
any of our pales now, they're absolutely banging. But are you?
It's our reputation that it's hard to change.
Is the consensus going to say they're up there with Daya, they're up there with Verdant? No, they're not, because we've not done it for long enough. But if we keep on doing what we're doing, then they have to think of us that way, because the beers we're doing now are up there. They are that good.
It was really cool actually. When we did the collab with Northern Monk, we did Scone Alone, the Monks in Brew York thing, and when Brian, the production director, I think it's his job title for Northern Monk came down,
Technical director. I think his job is,
he drank our pales pretty much all night when he was there, and he was so impressed. He just hadn't realised that we'd moved on, I guess, so much from what his perception was of our pale beer, and that was really nice to hear. And then he said he already knew that we made some of the best stouts and pales in the country, sours in the country. So it's nice to hear that he felt our pale beer had moved up to the level that he was hoping as well. So.
Which is great to hear, because we never set out to be the stout guy, we never set out to be the sour guy, we never set out to be the pale guy. We just want to please all comers. We want to have a diverse waterfront brewery where maybe you don't like the rhubarb thing, but maybe you like the gooseberry thing. Maybe you don't like the stout thing, but maybe you like the lager thing. We just want to have that broad waterfront where there's something there for you. But it does frustrate me with the pales when people say our pales are not good, because that's absolute BS. Because you probably could have said that a few years ago. I don't think you can say that anymore. I think we're absolutely nailing it on our pales now.
I would agree, but I think we also need to wrap this up a little bit with our beers of the year as well.
That's true.
Oh, Mel, go on, you go first.
So mine's not wrote down there, but thankfully it's mine, so I know what it is. So my beer of the year got us another cease and desist. We like to get them. It happened to be a beer which was peanut based. It was it was Reese's with a spoon.
You were trying to find another way to
Yeah,
go.
there's no way. But
And if you look at the
on
graphic,
the artwork, we're going to call it Ceases with a spoon.
I've just done some artwork, so it says ceases with a spoon.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, Hershey's.
As you would do.
Hershey's, who make Reese's, contacted us and said that we needed to stop using their registered trademark in the UK, but if we wanted to pay them for a license to use it, then if we can sell them our detailed P&L for the last 6 years, they would consider it. At which point I was like, they're just trying to find out how much money we've got to sue us. No way are we giving them that. We just said no.
Well, I thought that. I mean, who does something like this? We will license you a product, but first of all, we want to know how much money you've got, so we can determine your fee.
Yeah, how much we'll charge you.
So it might be a fiver, it might be 5 million, but it depends how much money you've got.
So we've got a couple of questions for the audience. We've got one over there first. I've got loads of questions from the audience now.
I was going to ask, how do you come up with the names? Like, what's that process?
So question for the audience is, how do we come up with the names? So it started off with just us trying to think of, well, initially, a coherent concept of a brewery brand and what beers we would call
we
them.
didn't do puns.
No.
We had kind of like animal things and stuff like that initially, didn't we? And then once you hit on the one pun thing, everybody's like, yeah, celebrities puns.
And
then it's kind of cascaded from that point forward. And it was Win and I in the first instance, but then after a while we were preoccupied with other things and we had to open it up. And I tell you what, this guy's been a good font of names.
Sorry.
Sam, our
Our
export manager.
manager, Sam, and her wife.
They probably named most of our beers.
I think when they're not looking after their kid, I think they put their kid down on a Saturday night and they get drunk and they just come up with names for us.
Honestly, still one of my favourites that they came up with was Olivia Gluten Gone, which unfortunately, because of what happened recently, we
Now
can't
it would
really
seem
use it.
insensitive, so we can't really.
But it was a gluten-free beer. It was such a good name, and when we brought it out, the branding was really, really good on it as well. So now what we do is we have a naming thread on our teams. Like the business has teams, Microsoft Teams, and we all just have like little chat threads go on. And one of them is, we've got this concept for a beer coming up. Who can think of a name? It's a strata hopped with nectar on beer, and then John in the back of the room is like, how can I get you guys saved quickly? Let's put you. John,
our seller manager who's over there, came up with this particular one, which Wayne and I have selected as our side beer for the evening, which was Captain Strata versus the Nectarons. And if you'd watched our YouTube feed last Friday, you'd have seen that the company
Jerry Anderson,
Studios,
Make Thunderbirds, Terrorhawks, Captain Scarlet.
And unlike some others where they go cease and desist, they went, we want some. How do we
get the beer? So we sent them a case of beer and they're like, this is amazing. Can we come down and send our marketing team down and we'll do some cool stuff? We're like, yeah. Just for me personally, I don't want them to bring the Terrorhawk style for Zelda.
Can you imagine though, if they had one of the puppet studios
God,
a
no.
platform or something? That's
Genuinely, when the guys upstairs at United by Design did the branding for this one, straight away I was like, yeah, that's way too close. So they changed the colour to green. Yeah, we'll get away with it. Obviously, it worked well, that one.
I love when we do this, we need to hurry up. And then someone asks a question and we do like 10 minutes.
We've got about 4 more questions in the audience.
So there's some more in the audience. Yes.
Have you got any names you haven't put a beer to yet?
Have we got any names we haven't put a beer to?
That's for us to know and you to find out.
That's one of them. We do the same name thread. People drop a few ones on there. But, that's so cool. Sometimes we'll go back to them and do them.
Well, there's one I wanted. We did a sour called Take the Sour Black. Take the Sour Black, but a dark sour is not a great selling thing. And I'd come up with a follow-up, but you won't let me make it because it didn't sell well.
So we do them quite a lot. And the Olivia Gluten Gone, the name came way before the beer. The name was out there. We're going to have to brew a beer specifically for that now.
The second this camera gets turned off, I'm going to remember what that was.
There was a couple more in the audience.
Well, it's been lovely to hear your story of how, I guess, the Brew family has grown over however many years. I'm just interested, like you've mentioned Norway and places. How far do you think, how far are you exporting? How far is the Brew York name travelling? Really?
So the question off camera was how far is the Brew York name carrying? How far are we exporting? So we're privileged to be able to say that we're quite well known in Asia now. So you'll find our beer in Japan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand. It's kind of cool. I get to go holiday out there and go beer spotting now. And bizarrely, we kind of have 2 big territories. We have Asia and we have Scandinavia. That's kind of the 2 big areas in which we export. And then there's little bits here and there other than that, but that's the 2 big bits. But we are expanding.
So in Scandinavia, so we had a busy year and it was really good because after COVID, export really dropped. And that's because every time that we had a product available, the market we're trying to sell to was in some form of restriction. But we went out to Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark. That was it.
All of that, yeah. So 2 of them in one trip.
So when I say we literally went to pour at festivals and talk about the beer and promote the beer, we'd been selling to those markets for quite a while, but it was quite nice for them to say, do you want to come and do these things? And then, we regularly sell into France, Italy, Spain. Brilliantly, we got a pallet into Russia in February, and we're like, oh shit, that market's dead. That kind of fell flat.
In more ways than one. So we sold them some beer in February, and there was no inkling of a war at that point in time. And then our bank decides, come March, when there is a war, they decide that we're disreputable beings and they need to block our account because we traded with Russia.
It wasn't even in March. It was when we were in Scandinavia. So it was like July or August time.
We were in Finland.
Yeah, you've
Finland,
declared that you've sold beer to Russia. Well, no, we have. Yeah, we aren't selling beer anymore. All right, in that case, we need to freeze your account until you prove your life story to us.
So they blocked our account, and we had to start using our personal cards over in Finland to be able to move around the place.
One thing we didn't start this with was that Scandinavia is like 12 quid a pint. So we massively dropped our drinking that holiday, that trip.
Needless to say, in the last week we just finalised our move across to a different bank.
In Russia.
Qatar, yeah. Have we got any final questions in the room before I do these? Yes.
Yeah, I'll try and make it quick. First of all, aside from it, just to say I'm a digital marketeer, so I really love that story. Understand the social media, the design, how you can tell someone's passionate about it through looking at the design, the brand identity, and that kind of thing. So I love hearing that story.
Cool.
But the actual question. So for the full panel, what would you say is your favourite beer of tonight? I know you've talked about the beer of the
tonight.
year. What is your favourite beer tonight? And what would you say is the biggest and best ingredient that makes that impact on that particular beer that you have?
Okay. So for the benefit of the audience at home, we've just heard that you love Ant. Yes.
That's understandable. Yeah.
That's how I heard it anyway. And beyond that, what is each panel member's favourite beer of tonight, and which particular ingredient makes that our decision? Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'll start.
Anyone
with,
prepared to? Well,
I'll start with Nightmare of Brew York. So don't get me wrong, I drank the barrel-aged Nightmare a lot quicker than the others because it was just so smooth. But the Nightmare of Brew York I really, really enjoyed. I love gingerbread. So the ginger itself was the main, well, when I drank it tonight, that was what I perceived as being the main part. But if the background bone of that beer, if the body of the different malts we used wasn't right, it would have been horrible. So in my mind, it was the gingerbread, but in reality, it was probably different malt base we had on that beer that made it work. It has to be a thick-bodied beer. It has to taste, has to support that flavour. So perceived thing was the gingerbread, but in reality, it was the malt that really made that beer what it was.
And
I'd like to say my favourite beer of the night is always the next one.
And we've got some really good ones on in the beer hall as well tonight, haven't we?
There's many out
it's
there.
almost like that's not the first time you've been asked that.
No, I don't know, but it's true.
Right,
all
but
the
you've
time.
only answered part of the question.
No. So
Ingredient. What would that be?
My favourite ingredient. To be fair, at the moment, I know everyone thinks I'm a big Imperial Stout. I drink all the stupid heavy stuff, but at the moment,
Radlers?
I love I just love a good, simple, plain 4-5% smashable pale. I'm just cask or keg if it's decent, but yeah, cask. A good hoppy quality to it, but it's not too crazy, not too ridiculous. I like to drink. Let's be honest. So if well, there we go. It's a great name. But
Captain
something
Strata
like
was
that.
a shout off camera.
Anything really. I like a sour, but I go through a lot of phases. I drink everything, and I'll start the night off on a pale, then I'll move into a heavier pale, then I'll go into a sour, and then I'll morph that into a stout, and then I'll come out with a sour.
He's minesweeping. He's just taking everyone's drinks
Having
and
a
pouring
little
it
bit of
into
everything. But I like to try a bit of everything, and it's interesting to see what people are coming up with, what ideas they're coming up with. As a chef by old trade, so I love flavour. I love getting interested on stuff. But yeah, anything at the moment, 4%, anything that I could drink and drink again, because it's rare for me to go back to a pint for a second time. So when I do, it means it's a good one, like Clever Guile.
But before Lee answers his, one of the things I think really makes a difference, and is the company you're drinking the beer with. So when we go to beer festivals now, when I was before we had the brewery, we used to obsess about what beers I would drink at the beer festival. Now I don't really care what beer I'm drinking. I just care about the company, the people I'm talking to, the fun I'm having, and I will drink anything, and it will taste like the best beer in the world. And I don't.
Amen to that, man.
I genuinely mean that. And the same goes for like when you're out and about. So during lockdown, when the first restrictions opened up and you could go to a pub, but you had to sit about 10 metres away from everyone else. And that's great because the people you're with are the people you're passionate about and you care about. But sometimes it's really nice when you go to a pub and you stand at the bar and you don't know anyone, and you talk to people, and that makes your night. That kind of really helps the beer that you're drinking taste better than it is. So you can go to a pub and you can drink an average beer and it tastes like the best beer in the world, or you can go to a pub and drink the best beer in the world with shit company and it tastes like a crap beer. So it does really make a difference.
No, as I said, amen to that.
Shame my company's so shit tonight. Not you guys, but these guys.
Screw you, Hans Bricks. So my favourite beer of the night, because I have to pick one different, and I would have picked this one anyway, would have been Dreams of Brew York. And that's because I'm a sucker for pastry sour, or any sour for that matter. And ingredient-wise, it would also be one that's present in that beer, vanilla, because of how much it can transform a beer. That beer, without vanilla, completely different beer. That beer with a small amount of vanilla, okay, you're getting somewhere. That beer with a lot of vanilla, yeah, it's such a great ingredient. It can, I think Tom said earlier, how it can sweeten the beer. There's a spicy edge to it. There's a bourbon edge to it. There's so much you can achieve with vanilla, depending on how much you use and what you use it with. So for me, vanilla it's like the brewer's ingredient. You can really do so much with it. Okay, right, questions. This isn't the question.
Statement.
Somebody wants Nitro Maris. We did that once. We called it Maris Smooth Flow. No copyright infringement at all there.
Yeah, Nitro Maris sounds like a good shout. Or Nitro 100% pay rise. 100% Nitro pay rise.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. Has Wayne ever refused Lee a beer because of the cost of ingredients? And that's from Belinda.
It's quite a timely one, that. We've got some showstopper beers coming out soon.
And I think the answer is he wishes there was a situation where that was true.
So we might have to bring some rules in to make sure we don't get into that situation, but we haven't yet. And sometimes it is quite challenging because there's some very expensive blueberry beers.
Do you guys drink wine or beer with Christmas? I presume this means the Christmas meal. And that's Belinda once again.
Beer for me. I drink red wine with steak, and I don't drink steak on Christmas Day. So.
I've only just got round to drinking again on Christmas Day because I'm usually too hungover. I quite like a drink on Christmas Eve.
I like Christmas Day.
What is it? What beer?
What do you drink on Christmas Day?
Actually, last few years, I've taken to sourcing some beers from Colonel. I really like Colonel beers, but as good as their pales are, I really...
KFC guy?
No, not the KFC. Colonel as in where Tom used to brew, Bermondsey Mile, London. He brewed at Partisan, considered to be the little brother of Colonel. And Colonel, one of the godfathers of the craft beer movement. And yes, their pales are good, but their brown and dark beer is so good. So every Christmas, I treat myself to that. I get like a 12-pack of that in, and that's my Christmas Day sorted. Yeah. What about you, man? Anything you buying specifically for Christmas Day?
The answer is yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Wine or beer, yes.
Wine or beer. Okay. Right. What would you buy? Do you get anything special in for Christmas Day?
The last couple of years I've gone out. I've gone away for Christmas, so I've gone to Leith, just near Edinburgh, and went to the Dreadnought last Christmas Day. It was really good. Dreadnought's a craft beer bar on the outskirts of Leith. Really, really cool.
Owned by the brother of the owner of Brass Castle, which is a brewery local to us here.
Again, they had Colonel on, so I was
awesome.
drinking Colonel on
Awesome.
Christmas Day. So really good.
No fill. Oh, you've set something well in now. Someone wants to know if they can buy that jumper.
I knew that. Genuinely, as soon as I got in the truck tonight, I was like, people are going to ask if they can buy the jumper, can't they?
Yeah, can we get a Tonko ho jumper to sell? Wow.
Yes. We'll do it. Just send your request to Ant. We do need a Christmas jumper ranger, don't we? I think we should bring it in next year.
Does every member of Brew York have a beard? Apparently they weren't very observant when you were on camera, Joe, were they?
Did we have the...
Maybe the camera was a bit close.
Yeah, the full HD camera.
Oh,
There was
Jesus.
quite a lot of us.
Belinda's prolific. Belinda would also like
What's
to
the
know,
prize?
what is Ant's favourite band?
Favourite brand?
Band.
Oh, bolt throw.
Yeah, nobody else knows that. We'll move on.
Yeah, scrunchy.
Do you have a special beer which you're all serving to drink on Christmas Day?
I go a bit off piece actually. You know, we said about one a second ago, but I usually get a few bottles of Brew and Hiss, Goose Island.
Bourbon County. But yeah, it's
So I
nice.
have quite a few in my cupboard from previous years, so I do like to crack one of them on special occasions.
I get
I
the
drink it on my own, so.
I get the hiss element, but I mean at the end of the day, good beer's good beer, isn't it? Yeah.
Really good beer. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's a bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout. It's really good. It's one of the best examples of its kind, but they were bought by
Abe InBev, yeah.
about 6 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. So they went down in people's estimation, but they kept their barrel aging project running. They have changed it a lot. They do massively try and make the most out of the barrel age project now. So they put far more in than they used to, but it's still really
They were the ones that made the barrel aging thing a mainstream thing. So it used to be this kind of niche thing that people occasionally did as a little side project. There'd be a couple of barrels here, a couple of barrels there. They did it on scale, and they made these incredible beers.
Is it about 650 mil or 500? I can't
It's just 650,
650
yeah.
mil
Yeah.
bottle, still 20 quid in the UK now. So even though they brew
And we love them. And I remember doing an event with you in Leeds, and we decided the 20-minute journey back from Leeds was the appropriate point to try and drink one of them.
Yeah, that was Beerhawk. That Beerhawk had a bar, and they're the exclusive because they're owned by AB InBev, exclusive supplier of their barrel-aged beer. So before we jumped on the train, we bought a bottle to share on the train back.
Right.
That's just unfortunately our weird taste.
Yeah, well, there you go. Is it possible to have a nitro release can, or is it copyrighted due to the big Irish brewing company? It's nothing to do with them. We'd love to put the beer we referenced in can. Unfortunately, we do not have the £60,000 to buy the technology to do that. Holy what one to finish on? Someone has suggested that we do a sage and onion fairy tale. No. Yeah, that is the correct answer. What? Who? Why?
That's the answer.
Where's that one come from? John. Right. So that was from our cellar manager, John. It's kind of Sunday dinner side Christmassy.
On the table.
Although I have to say, Glenn, I'm disappointed. I've not had a jalapeno suggestion come up. Glenn, who is our packaging lead, he's the guy that puts your beer in cans, is obsessed with trying to get us to put jalapenos, if I can say it properly, into beer. He wants us to make a jalapeno IPA. And he kind of thinks we've forgotten about the idea, and then every little chance he gets, he tries to slip the idea back in.
We haven't forgotten. Shrimp and jalapeno on the barbie.
Yeah.
So,
Spirit, you get the worm in, or you could do the beer that you get a jalapeno in.
yeah, we might give that one a miss.
I'm not sure where we're going with that.
2 hour tasting, it's almost at 3 hours, so we need to wrap up and let the people enjoy the rest of their Friday night.
And we've got a really difficult decision. Who made the best question? And
Pete probably has already got one in mind, has he?
I've got an idea.
Let's go on your choice.
I'm going to say, for sheer amount of output and contribution, Belinda.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. So Belinda gets a free hoodie and beanie. So thank you, Belinda. Thank you for all your excellent questions through the night. Thankfully, yours wasn't the surgeon onion suggestion. Yeah. So
info@brewyork.co.uk, Belinda, and we'll send something out to you.
So how many Belindas are we going to get emailed?
Literally doesn't respond, can I have it?
So,
Joe, who works for us, is petitioning for the prize.
So very, very rapidly to quickly wrap this up. We do have another Christmas beer tasting coming up, don't we?
With the craft beer channel.
Beer channel,
Which
So-
is on the 22nd of December.
So actually Christmas.
Well, that's downside more Christmas than this is, I guess.
We've got one more live stream on your day after your birthday.
9th of December is the
we're
next
doing
one,
the next
yeah.
Christmas, the next subscriber live tasting, and we've got a few other events. We've got New Year's Eve parties happening both here at the tap room and at Hamley Tap in Osborwick. So here in York, it will be. Oh, this is going to test me now. I think it's 25. I'm going to completely wrong. So
I'll give you a clue. It's 31st of December, man.
Just point down.
I'm pretty sure.
Right, he's
it's
saying
on-
point
on
out.
the
It's
first
down
screen,
here.
brilliant.
Look down
Brilliant,
here.
yeah. Oh, how did I not see that? Oh, damn me. So yeah, the New Year's Eve party. I think it's £25-ish.
15.
Great deal of
Yes.
He did the first one, there you go.
So in York it's £15 a ticket. You get £5 towards your food. You get your first drink free. You get some drink at midnight, champagne at midnight. You get a speed quiz, and you get the exclusive use of the tap room. That's going to be ticket only. The beer hall is going to be open to the general public to do as you please. So that'd be pretty cool. Hanley, we have Spicy Bikers in, who are really awesome street food vendor. £10 ticket there, £5 goes straight towards your drinks, £5 for the food. So very limited spaces. So if you do want them, pop down.
Get in soon.
Come online. What else have we got?
I think. And the final bit, I guess, is if you are a subscriber, you can join us at our collective Christmas party in January. If you're not a subscriber, why?
Join
Why?
us in January.
And then you go and resolve that, and then you can come and join us in January. I think the way to conclude has to be to thank our guests, Tom and Joe, and where's Digby gone?
Diggles, James has gone somewhere.
So yeah, Tom, Joe, Joanna, sorry.
So you go posh with everyone else's name. So Joanna, Anthony, James.
I've always known Joe as Joe, but apparently it's Joanna. So Tom, Joanna, Digby, and Ant. Right. So, loved having you guys once again. Any feedback, send it through to info@brewyork.co.uk. We will see you next time on the 9th of December for the monthly YouTube.